in bed, scrolling through Twitter, when you see it. A post from some crypto influencer you started following last month. Just made $40,000 on this new coin in 6 hours. You're welcome. There's a screenshot. A chart going straight up. Green candles everywhere. Your heart rate spikes. You click on his profile. He's got a Telegram channel. A Discord. A course. He's talking about generational wealth and early entry and don't sleep on this one. You open your exchange app. You look at your portfolio. You've got a few $1,000s in boring index funds. They're up, like, 8% this year. 8%. That's nothing compared to this guy's 40 grand in 6 hours. You feel it. That familiar feeling. The tightness in your chest. The voice in your head that says, everyone's getting rich except you. You start researching the coin. You don't really understand what it does. Something about DeFi. Something about staking. Something about revolutionizing finance. But there are a lot of people talking about it. A lot of people buying it. You tell yourself you'll just put in a little. $500. Not much. Just to see what happens. You place the order. You watch the chart. It goes up. 10%. 20. You're a genius. You buy more. Another 1,000. It keeps going up. You're up 30%. You're up 40. You're thinking about quitting your job. Then it happens. The chart turns. Red candles. Everywhere. It's down 10%. 20. 30. 40. 50. You panic. You sell. You lost $1,500. In 6 hours. That's rent. That's car payment. That's 2 months of groceries. You close the app. You throw your phone across the bed. You lie there in the dark, feeling sick, feeling stupid, feeling like a failure. And you ask yourself the question that haunts every investor who's ever chased a pump. Why did I do that? I knew better. I knew it was risky. I knew it was probably a scam. Why did I do it anyway? Here's the answer. FOMO. Fear of missing out. And it's not just a feeling. It's a tax. A tax on your future. A tax on your wealth. And until you know how to calculate it, you'll keep paying it. Over and over. For the rest of your life. Hi, what's up? And I spend way too much time thinking about FOMO. Like, probably an unhealthy amount. Not the, I missed a party, kind of FOMO. The, I just lost my rent money on a meme coin because someone on Twitter told me to, kind of FOMO. The kind that's cost people I know hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're someone who's ever bought something because everyone else was buying it, or if you've ever watched an investment go up and felt that painful urge to buy even though you knew it was too late, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because what I'm about to show you is a formula. A real, mathematical formula that calculates exactly how much FOMO is costing you. And once you see the number, you'll never look at a hot tip the same way again. Now, before we dive in, I want to make something clear. Most people think investing is about having a lot of money. The truth? It's about what you keep. I'm building a community at the Frugal Investor newsletter where we strip away the hype and focus on high-impact, low-cost wealth building. Get your copy of the 15-day blueprint for wealth and financial autonomy and join a group of like-minded investors who prioritize long-term gains over short-term trends. Link is in the description. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start with the psychology. Because if you don't understand why FOMO happens, you can't defend against it. Here's what's going on in your brain. You're a social animal. For 100,000 years, your survival depended on being part of a group. Being left out meant being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So your brain developed a powerful response to the feeling of being left out. It hurts. Literally. The same parts of your brain that process physical pain light up when you experience social exclusion. Now, apply that to investing. You see other people getting rich. You see their screenshots, their gains, their "I told you so" posts. Your brain interprets that as social exclusion. They're in the group. You're not. You're going to get left behind. And just like that, you're not thinking rationally. You're not thinking about valuation or risk or diversification. You're thinking about survival. You're thinking about getting back in the group. So you buy, not because it's a good investment. Because you're afraid. And fear is a terrible investment advisor. Here's what most people don't realize. The people posting those gains? They're not posting their losses. They're not posting their bad trades. They're not posting the times they bought at the top and sold at the bottom. They're curating. They're showing you the highlight reel. And they're doing it because it gets them attention. Followers. Likes. Maybe even money from the people who buy their courses. You're not competing against them. You're their product. Now, let's talk about the cost. Because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say you're 30 years old. You have a solid investment plan. You're putting $500 a month into low-cost index funds. You're on track to have about $1 million by the time you're 65. Then one day, you see a hot tip. A friend tells you about a stock that's going to explode. Or a crypto coin. Or an NFT. Something that's going to 10x in the next few months. You buy in. $5,000. Not a huge amount, but it's money you would have invested in your index funds. The investment goes down. Of course it does. You lose half. You sell. You're down $2,500. Now, here's the thing. That $2,500 isn't just $2,500. It's the future value of that money. And at 8% growth over 35 years, that $2,500 would have been $38,000. $38,000. Gone. Because of one FOMO trade. Now, let's say you do this once a year. One FOMO trade a year. Average loss, $2,500. Over 35 years, that's $87,500 in principal. But with compound interest, that's over $300,000. $300,000 of future wealth. Gone. Because you couldn't resist the hot tip. Now, let's say you're more aggressive. Let's say you do 2 FOMO trades a year. Or 3. Or you bet bigger, $10,000 at a time. Suddenly, you're not talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're talking about millions. Millions of dollars of future wealth. Gone. Because you bought something your friend told you about on a Tuesday night. That's the FOMO tax. That's what it's costing you. And most people never calculate it. They just feel the pain of the loss, beat themselves up, and then do it again the next time they see a green chart. Alright, let's get to the formula. Because this is where we turn FOMO from a feeling into a number. And numbers are easier to fight. Here's the FOMO index. It's simple. It's brutal. And it's going to change how you think about every investment decision. FOMO index equals number of FOMO trades per year, times average FOMO trade loss, times 30-year compound multiplier. Let me break that down. Number of FOMO trades per year. How many times a year do you buy something because you're afraid of missing out? Be honest. For most people, it's 2 to 5 times a year. Average FOMO trade loss. When you make a FOMO trade, how much do you lose on average? Not how much you hope to make. How much you actually lose. For most people, it's between $1,000 and $5,000. 30-year compound multiplier. This is the number that makes FOMO so expensive. Over 30 years, at 8% growth, every dollar you lose today would have been about $10 in the future. Actually, let's be precise. $1 today, invested at 8% for 30 years, becomes $10.62. So let's call it 10.6. So the formula looks like this. FOMO index equals number of trades, times average loss, times 10. 6. Let's run some examples. Example 1. The casual FOMO. You do 2 FOMO trades a year. You lose an average of $1,000 on each. FOMO index equals 2 times 1,000 times 10. 6 equals $21,200. That's $21,000 of future wealth you're burning every year. Every single year. Just on FOMO. Example 2. The serious FOMO. You do 4 FOMO trades a year. You lose an average of $2,500 on each. FOMO index equals 4 times 2,500 times 10. 6 equals $106,000. That's $106,000 of future wealth. Per year. You're not just losing money. You're losing a retirement account. Example 3. The dangerous FOMO. You do 6 FOMO trades a year. You lose an average of $5,000 on each. FOMO index equals 6 times 5,000 times 10. 6 equals $318,000. That's $318,000 of future wealth. Every year. In 10 years, that's over $3 million. In 20 years, it's over $6 million. That's not FOMO. That's financial suicide. Now, here's the thing. Most people don't even know they're doing this. They think they're just making a few small bets. A few thousand here, a few thousand there. But the compound interest on those losses is enormous. And it's stealing their future. Let me tell you about someone I know. Let's call him Jason. Jason is smart. He's a software engineer. He makes good money. He's been investing for years. He knows the rules. Diversification. Asset allocation. Buy and hold. But Jason has a problem. He loves hot tips. He loves the feeling of getting in early. He loves the dopamine hit of watching a chart go up. In 2020, he started trading options. Not a lot. A few thousand here, a few thousand there. But he wasn't investing. He was gambling. He'd see a stock pumping on Reddit. He'd buy calls. He'd make money. He'd feel like a genius. Then he'd lose money. He'd feel like an idiot. Then he'd chase. He'd double down. He'd lose more. At the end of 2020, he added it up. He'd made 20 trades. He'd lost an average of $1,500 per trade. $30,000. In 1 year, he did the FOMO index calculation. $30,000 times 10.6. That's $318,000 of future wealth. Gone. In 1 year. Jason looked at the number and said, I've been working for 15 years. I've saved $100,000 in my 401k. And in 1 year of FOMO trading, I burned 3 times that much in future wealth. He stopped. Cold turkey. He closed his options account. He stopped following the Reddit threads. He stopped checking his phone every 5 minutes. Now, he invests in index funds. He checks his portfolio once a month. He sleeps through the night. His wealth is growing. Slowly. Steadily. Surely. He told me, I thought I was being smart. I thought I was being aggressive. I was just being scared. And my fear cost me a fortune. Now, let's talk about the 4 types of FOMO. Because not all FOMO is the same. And knowing which type you're vulnerable to is the first step to defending against it. Type 1. The crypto FOMO. This is the classic. You see a coin pumping. You buy. It crashes. You lose. The crypto FOMO is especially dangerous because the charts are volatile. They go up fast. They go down fast. And the social media hype is relentless. Type 2. The stock FOMO. You see a stock going up. Maybe it's Tesla. Maybe it's GameStop. Maybe it's some random biotech that's up 400% on a rumor. You buy. You're late. The stock corrects. You lose. Type 3. The NFT FOMO. You see a digital picture selling for millions. You buy a few. They become worthless. You lose. Type 4. The real estate FOMO. You see housing prices going up. You buy at the peak. The market corrects. You're underwater on your mortgage. Each type has its own flavor. But they all have the same root. Fear. And they all have the same result. Loss. Alright, so how do you defend against FOMO? How do you stop yourself from making these trades? Here's the action plan. Step 1. The 24-hour rule. When you see a hot tip, do nothing for 24 hours. Don't buy. Don't sell. Don't do anything. Just wait. 90% of FOMO trades feel stupid 24 hours later. The urgency passes. The emotion fades. And you realize that buying would have been a mistake. So set a timer. 24 hours. If you still want to make the trade after that, go ahead. But most of the time, you won't. Step 2. The FOMO index calculation. Before you make a trade, calculate its potential cost. Not the potential gain, the potential loss. And then multiply that loss by 10.6. Ask yourself, is this trade worth risking $38,000 of my future? Because that's what a $5,000 loss today becomes in 30 years. When you see the future number, the present trade looks a lot less appealing. Step 3. The boring portfolio check. When you feel FOMO coming on, open your portfolio. Look at your index funds. Look at their steady, boring growth. Remind yourself that slow and steady wins the race. The S&P 500 has returned about 10% a year for the last 100 years. That's not exciting, but it's consistent. And consistency is what builds wealth. Step 4. The social media cleanse. Unfollow the influencers. Leave the Telegram groups. Mute the crypto Twitter accounts. These people are not your friends. They're not trying to help you. They're trying to get your attention so they can sell you something. If you can't see the FOMO, you can't feel the FOMO. And if you can't feel the FOMO, you can't act on the FOMO. Step 5. The FOMO journal. Keep a journal of every FOMO trade you almost made. Write down the date, the investment, the amount you would have bought, and the price. Then check back in a month. See what would have happened. Most of the time, you would have lost money. And that journal becomes your evidence. Your proof that FOMO is a liar. I want to end with a concept that might change everything for you. The opportunity cost of FOMO. Every dollar you lose to FOMO is a dollar that could have been working for you. Building your future. Buying your freedom. Every dollar you gamble away is a dollar that could have been in an index fund, growing at 8%, doubling every 9 years. When you lose $5,000 on a meme coin, you're not just losing $5,000. You're losing the trip to Europe that money could have bought. You're losing the early retirement it could have funded. You're losing the security it could have provided. That's the real cost of FOMO. It's not the money you lose today. It's the life you could have had with that money. The freedom, the options, the peace of mind. And once you see that, once you really see it, FOMO loses its power. Because you're not afraid of missing out on some random pump. You're focused on missing out on your own future. And that's a fear worth having. I really hope this video brought you some value today. If it did, comment more down below. I'm reading through those to decide what topics to cover next, so definitely let me know if you want more of this. Look, here's the bottom line. FOMO is not your friend. It's a tax. A tax on your future. A tax on your freedom. And it's costing you more than you know. But now you have a tool. The FOMO index. A formula to calculate exactly how much that fear is costing you. And once you see the number, you can start to fight back. 24-hour rule. FOMO journal. Social media cleanse. Boring portfolio check. These are your weapons. Use them. Because here's the truth. The people getting rich are not the ones chasing pumps. They're the ones who ignore the noise. Who stick to the plan. Who buy and hold. Who let compound interest do its work. Be that person. Be boring. Be patient. Be wealthy. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.